Hello, Oddjob Doer here, and for today's little show and tell video, no white gloves involved. I might have to don the brown gloves, but we got here a quick jack, see? And from what it looks like on this box here, it looks like it lifts up a car. And this particular model is the BL7000 SLX. In case you're wondering, maybe there's a few different models, but this here, as you can tell, down here, this little icon says it's a box 3 of 3. And for those that could read upside down, there's box 2 of 3, and over here is box 1 of 3. Okay, so 3 boxes like that. You got a brown one here, and you got a few a little bit bigger ones here, right? There's some nice colored print to it, fancy. And you have this, 2 little boxes over there. And those little boxes I'll start with first, for this unboxing slash show and tell. But what they are I think accessories. I think you can add on to them. So go like that, and I'll get my little tool of choice. Let's do a little slicey. And see what's in this bad boy. Alright, so in here we got what's in the box. Ah, look at this. This here looks kind of pretty and fancy, but very nice. Comes in green. Has the QJ on it. So this here, I believe, is the quick jack holders. Right? So it has like that there, and from what I can tell, these things get hung up on a wall somewhere, and these the flat parts will hook in them. So that's kind of nice to have if you don't have a place to put these things. It's probably just on the ground to use them all the time. So in this box we got 2 holders and some mighty fine screws, it looks like. These here are maybe 3 or 4 inches. Not too sure. But they're okay. They're the kind you have to like drill a hole first and then drill them in afterwards. I think I got a little beefier, better screws than that, but that's fine. Alright, box 1 done. Now, box 2 on this is a little bit heavier box. Like that. I think it's full of gold bullion. But, once again, get me a little, chic. Oh, did I scare you? A little knife action here. Keep my fingers away from it because nobody likes to have blood all over their stuff. That's right. So, ooh, look at this. We got everything in this box is heavy. We have this thing here. This is rubber. This is metal. And looks like we got 2 of them. Put my knife away before I slice something. We have this here. Look, it's a waffle press. And a little shaky in there. I think the corners don't have much support, but once again, heavy gauge metal stuff. And we got this here. And this. It goes in like that. Goes in like this here. Oh, it can go like that. Okay, now I'll hurry this up a little bit, but another round one. We got another waffle cone. Got one of these pegs. Got another waffle cone. Another round one. Waffle cone. And guess what? Another round one. And oh man. We got a silicone pack in here, and it's all leaked out everywhere. Look at this. It's a little pebble from the silicone pack. I guess you can't see that. But Okay. That box is a little bit dead. You can go to the bin recycling. So, we have this, Beholds. And what this does, without even reading anything or learning anything, I'm trying to remember, is you have Waffle, right? And that there. And then you have Roundo. And I believe Waffle and Roundo are friends. They go like that. And so if you have a maybe a higher profile vehicle, something lifted, I think you do this. And just guessing here, I think the Waffle one goes on the top of the quick jack, and this here goes to the bottom of the car. And if you want a bigger lift, you get this little rod thing in there, right? Boom. Now you got a bigger lift slash dumbbell to work out with, huh? Right, so these little things will get set up to the side for now. And we'll get to the next box action, and now we've got the next one here. Let's get into it. That side there. Yeah, here. Some of that action. Some of that. And a little bit of that, see? Now, inside, ooh, here, this paper. Just, right, paper. We got to stop. And this talks about if anything's wrong with it, and if you have questions, call their numbers. And look, there's all kinds of numbers there. There's a USA number. I don't know if it's still good or not. Hopefully it is. UK. Konnichiwa, Japanese. Europe. Australia. And Taiwan. Alright, so they're worldwide. And look at here. We got a packing list. So we got a 55mm dimpled rubber pad, 75mm dimple rubber pad. I think those were the things we already saw. We have a hose assembly, more hoses, a quick jack parts bag, a liquid PFT thread sealant, something with a bunch of numbers and letters. It's a quick connect male coupler, and another quick connect non-spilled design from male coupler. Then we got a female non-coupler quick connect non-spill design, and some kind of an orb and a do not return sheet. Well, we got the do not return sheet right there. And let's see here. We got hoses, nice. Missing a plug on this one here, but hopefully it's okay. All right, the ones are fine there. Then we got more hoses. See, same thing. Man, that plug department. Then we got something else in there. What could it be? Hopefully it has a handle. We got this here. Look at that. It's like the biggest, one of those building brick things. Dimples on the back, studs on one side, kind of heavy. Another hose, plugged. What? No plugs at all? Oh. Okay, when you get stuff like that that have plugs in it, you want to make sure there's nothing in there when you put them together. So we'll do that later. We got another one of these brick things. And let's see here. Kind of church this up like so. And there she goes. Gracefully. Yeah. Success. Whew. Are we done yet? No. So, cardboard. Wow. Building blocks galore. See, I tell you know, studs on one side, holes on the other. They kind of stick together, like a, you know, a brick of some sort. And can already see a little bit of leakage. Luckily, it's in the bag on that main thing. And there's another thing. This must be the extra parts bag, a box. Huh? No. What's in here? Treasures beyond belief? Ooh. Here's a bunch of fancy stuff. So, we've got some plugged adapters here. Right? And then we got some other angle things here. We got some, environmental protection type thread sealant. Liquid. I wonder if they don't want you to use the Teflon tape. But then we got this right here. And look at this thing. Pop this thing off probably. Nice. Probably that non-leak stuff. Once again, the back's not doing anything, but once it's together, guess what? It's together. I have a feeling. Okay, set this aside because we'll need it later. And let me mess with this real quick. And look, there they are, the missing caps I found. Anyways, also we got here a unit, and seems to be some kind of a, you know, pumping device thing. We got a 110 outlet, 120, 120. Full plug, some cordage. We got this thing here, which is probably, look at that, a couple buttons. You got up and DN. All right, up and DN. And last but not least, there's these I found. These here in the box. Look at that. Some little connection of some sort. So they're probably handy and needed. And this is nice because it has a nice little handle, so you can set it somewhere else. Oh, there, that's dirt. There we go. And yes, there's a bit of a leaky from the temporary plugs in that thing. Yes, I'm looking at this right there. Oh, messy. Okay, now, next we got, are these big boxes here. So I'm going to go ahead and get my little knife out and do the straps to the boxes, whatever, and bust them both open. So we do have a QR code here, and you can see it in action. But no, not that guy. But I'm going to show you in action here in a little bit. But look at that. Got a little bit of looks like some wood up in there, and take this out of the way. So, after you go through the first set of straps, and you have the second set of straps, you also got some wood, it looks like. Want to see a little trick here? We all know how straps work, right? They're strong, right? Hard to break free, whatever. But if you're not supposed to carry anything by those straps, nuh-uh. Because real quickly, your strap can just be defeated. That easy. See that? So much for that straps. Now, what do we got here? Ah, that's some wood very thin. That's neat. But maybe it's brown gloves time. I don't know. Okay, more straps, and let's see what this looks like after I get the wood off of it. Eh? Okay, time for that wood to go bye-bye. And I don't know. This is maybe it could be used for some kind of projects or something. Set this side here to make an idea. Oh, look at that. We've got some styrofoam. And, all right. Get a little zoom in on this puppy. We got some nice powder coating to it there. You got some kind of hydraulic shock thing in there. Not shock, but a lifter. You got that danger there. And, yeah, pretty nice, huh? Okay, well, let me get the other one done. Pretty much the same ways. And then I'll also take off this cardboard stuff and see what we got. Alright, so here's what we got in box one. And same kind of thing. But what? Oh my goodness. Lookers, we've got a manual in there. Alright, so I'm going to retrieve that manual and finish up unboxing that as long as I'm doing it right. And yeah, so box one has a manual. Okay, I kid you not. This here, just half of it, is pretty darn heavy. So you might have to have, you know, a couple strong people. One of me. I don't know. Keep the kids away though, because some tell me there could be like some pinch points in here. My hands are okay. But I did retrieve this thing here. Look at that, huh? Pretty neat. And we'll learn about that a little bit later. And the other thing that's just about almost as heavy as these side rails, so it's going to be interesting to see how they hang on a wall, is the manual. I retrieved this manual. And oh my goodness, look at that. That's quite some thickness, and this has some weight to it. I almost threw my back picking this up from down low. So I'm going to peruse this here booklet and recover a little bit, and we'll get back at it. I assure you, this will be working soon. Okay, so there is a plethora of warnings in the manual, but one of them is this right here. You can see that there, I believe, is the locking bar. And here is an air shock piston, and here's a hydraulic piston. And while these are in the down position, okay, let me start over. We'll get to this later on when we actually set up to try to lift something, but this bar here is going to be on the outer of the car. Notice how they're like this position. They need to be swapped. Now, the air pistons, as part of the setup, you make sure it's in the whole jack is lowered like it is here. And there's a little niblet at the bottom of that air piston. And since I have air going on right now, I'm going to add some air to that. So it takes 40 to 50 pounds, and they want you to definitely not go over 50 pounds, and you also don't inflate this while it's standing up. So you have a little protector nub here you take off, and like so. I'm just going to set that, actually before you set it aside, see if there's any air in it now. So there's some air. I'm going to go ahead and drop it all out to emptiness and get my air chuck here with the gauge on it that I trust. And I'm going to try out 45 pounds. Why not? Put it right in there. And that right there went way too quick, so that puts them out. See what we got there. That is real quick, so I'm at 48. 30. You could almost use a hand pump for that. So, I got me the 45 pounds of that one there. I'll put this back on. Kind of like the same thing as a bike tire or a car tire. And I'll do the same to the other. Never pressurize these when this is in the up position all the way, because I believe it will have the wrong amount of air in it. So I'll do the other one real quick. Okay, I'm going to move on to the short hose, which is something like this here. And you notice the short hose because it's probably not wound up like the long hose is. Okay, you got two short hoses, two long hoses, and that's it. Now the short hoses, you have a male side right here. Right, just pop that off. See that? This doesn't turn threads. And you have a female side. Female side spins. This is actually a flared fitting, but we'll get back to that later. So, they talk about, this is where you use tape. I don't mean Teflon tape, they talk about tape. So you wrap the threads at least 3 times in the manual. But what they also included in this setup was some of this. Thread sewing compound, right? I hope this is the right one to use, but we're going to try it out. So, I need to cut the tip off this thing, and mind you, don't cut your hose, that's for one thing. The other thing is, while I'm doing this little operation here, I do have some safety spectolias on, right? Safety glasses. It's because I hate getting things stuck in my eye. Now, the other thing is the quick fittings. So this is going to take the short one here is going to take a male quick fitting. And there's one that has a male tip to it. I'll pull off its little protection here. See? Male. And it has a male end with an O-ring on it. This is not the one you want for this part. So I'll set that aside here, and we'll get this one here. This is a male fitting. Oops, like so, right? And a female part in the back. So I'll put this back together again. And what we're going to do here, it should go something like this. You take your thread compound here and goop it on your threads. Not too sure how runny this is going to be. Or thick. Oh. I'm just going to make sure you don't get it in the hole, but around these threads here. And a little bit on the underbelly side. Okay, that's probably pretty good. In fact, it's probably a waste. Like I said, I've never really used this product before, but I have used pipe dope before. So, got that going. Like I said, without getting it in the hole here, just let it kind of run around, get down there to the tip of it, and this is where you might want to have a rag handy. I'm going to get this set into the threads pretty good. And then, make sure it's not in the hole, take the female one of this here and thread it on gingerly without cross-threading. You know, get started good. And I'm going to go ahead and hunker this down by hand a little bit. And that's about it. But that's not about it. Now then, I got a 17mm wrench for this side here. And I got this beast back here. This is a torque wrench, but not the ratcheting kind, per se. So I'm going to put pressure on this one here. This one's going to come up and grab this here. And it's set at 24 foot-pounds. It should be 23 to 25 foot-pounds. And I'm just going to tighten it on until it clicks. Man, I could have used 3 hands here. It's okay to reposition it. There. Do you want to hear that click? Hope it wasn't my fingers. Right, so this here is on there. Has a little bit of extra pipe dope coming out. Might take a little paper towel and wipe it on down. And then the other short hose, I'm going to do the same thing to, exactly the same thing. But you've seen it once, you've seen it at a time. This right here, let's do this for later. The long hose here. You have, we have 4 more of these here. These are the female quick connects for hydraulics, see that? And there's a little ball in there. Anyways, male end on one side, female, actually no, female and female. But we don't care about this one here, we want the threaded side. And what we're going to do on this one here is take our long hose. I'm just going to snip off the other one here, making sure you don't nick the hose. You don't want any nicks in your hose, otherwise it could burst and you'd be sad. And same thing as the last one. We're going to put some of that, either if you have Teflon, well, not about Teflon, but you have tape wrap around it, or if you have some of this goop that, like I said, mine came with it. So thread sealant. I'll go ahead and apply some of that liberally. And make sure I'll start on the bottom side first here. Get some of this goo here on it. Spread it around. And some on top here. Once again, not getting it in the hole. Right. Oops. Ew. Check it. Make sure it's not going there, which it ain't. Then get this filament fitting here. Thread it on ever so gently. You don't want to cross the threads. I like to get it hand tightened first. And then, this one here is weird. Maybe it's a misprint, either before or now. This says it wants up to, I think, 10 to 11 foot-pounds. So I got my 17 millimeter right here to hold that one in place. And I got me the, maybe back it up here. Whoa. Got me here the torque wrench again. And I'm going to, I reset it already for 11. Just kind of turn it. And I really think it's going to make less turns. And you can, not only can you hear the click, but you can also feel it in the handle. That's it. Now then, we'll find out when this thing runs, if it blows out hydraulic fluid everywhere. But that's what I wanted there. Now, do the same to this end here, goop it up, and put a fitting on it, and then you go to the other long hose and do the same thing. So you have 4 of these fittings altogether you're using up on this step. Okay, so I got the pump unit here, motor, pumping stuff, and put it on its side. This is the bottom. Here's a couple of plugs here. And that's one of the reasons why I put it on its side there. I'm going to kind of zoom in here. And what we got here, I got a, maybe it's the same size of plug, and I got a 1/2 inch socket. Just kind of, in theory, I think this is kind of threaded in there maybe. Yeah, so I can just use that to get it out. And these here are those other fittings from a long time ago. The ones with the male on one side and male on the other side, but this one here actually has the O-ring. Ugh, a little slimy on that. I think it has some hydraulic fluid in this thing still. That's one thing that you have to add. We'll be adding a little later on, is a hydraulic fluid of some sort. Okay, so looking down there, there's a little goop in there, but it's fine. Don't let any dust and debris get in there. And you got your fittings here, right? O-ring. Now these here, I'm just going to kind of wipe clean a little bit. and make sure there's nothing in the hole. These here do not take any thread compound. They have an O-ring. So, without muffing up the threads, put this thing in here, and start it by hand. You might even take off this assembly like so. Get in here, and they say it's best to do the bottom one first, and I agree already. So I'm going to get it kind of tightened. Then I'm going to switch to the other wrench, the torque wrench again, and the torque wrench here says 11 to 12 foot-pounds. So I've changed that already. And here we go. Tighten. And tighten. There. Ever so much. And once again, hopefully that keeps it all together and not blowing out fluid. In theory, these things here, you get them tightened, but you don't want to over-strength tighten them because, I don't know, strip threads, end of the world, something like that would happen. And when you're dealing with something that's, it's going to support a heavy vehicle that you may or may not be crawling underneath, you don't want it falling on you. And to keep it from falling, well, there's other things that keeps this thing from falling, but having this pressurized without leaking is one thing. Okay, last of these just about. Yeah. And I'll put these back on. You want to keep these things because you want to, when you're not having the hoses connected, you want to have something to keep these fittings clean. So pop them on here, not to mention the green, which I like green. Right. So that little beast there is ready to go to market. And I'm going to sit upright and I'll just let it sit here for a while. And go on to the next thing. Back to that hydraulic shock. So I interrupt this video here for a special notice. And that notice is, if you're like me and try to buy stuff on sale, or I usually don't go for stuff when it first comes out, but I do try to find stuff when it's on sale. I try to buy it. And this particular thing, I had gift cards, I had room on the credit card, and so I bought this particular contraption we're putting together. And let's just say I've had it for a while now, and in that time, apparently other people have been installing these things and using them, and found out, with the manual saying, 11 to 12 foot-pounds, or up to 23, that was my big kicker. So on the short hoses, I believe, if I remember right, without looking back to the video, these connectors wanted 23 to 25 foot-pounds of torque to them, which I did. Precision, mind you. And these long ones here, which is pretty much the same kind of fitting, male to female, they only wanted, 10 to 11 foot-pounds. And I thought, that's weird. So I went on the, that web thing, internet, went to www.quickjack.com, looked at support and looked for manuals and set up an operator manual and started going through that. And I was like, look at that. For one, they talk about whether you want to use, if you got this with it, this goop stuff, if you want to use a thread sealant like that, or another type of liquid thread sealant is fine. Teflon thread sealant's fine. And also Teflon tape is fine, they're saying. And all that is shown more in the new manual of how to put on Teflon tape and the sealants. The other thing they mentioned about is once you use this goop stuff, you wait 24 hours for it to kind of, get crusty or whatever, before you do pressurization. So, alright, great. And the biggest thing was for all of these fittings like this here, pay attention, the male to the female here, they say instead of 11 or 23 to 25 foot-pounds, they say, I'm assuming, they mean, what they say is, with 2 wrenches, tighten them 2 to 3 turns. But I think what they mean is, after you get this thing hand tightened on there, then 2 to 3 turns, which you may not get 3, but you should get 2 or so. And so they mean tight, but don't ogre strength, don't vice it and crimp on it. But so this one here I think was 17 millimeter. This one here was and just for me, a 7/8. Came pretty quick to that one. I'm sure there's a millimeter conversion there somewhere. But so I did that to, not the short ones, I think they were tight enough. I did it to the long ones though. Tighten them down, hoping that I don't have to go back and resupply the gooey stuff in here. I only actually tightened about another 1/4 inch, half inch turn meter on some of them. And these little guys down here, they're a little bit different. I think in the new manual they say you tighten them by hand, and after you get them tightened by hand, then a 1/4 inch turn with a wrench. And that's about what we did. And now we're on to this thing, right? This is the fanciest piece of metal that comes with this, I think. You got this part here. You got this nut here, a washer, and an O-ring. Then you got these ribs here, threads here, and a hole. And so this part is going to go into the machine, and you tighten it down till you get up past all these threads inside. Then you tighten this here, this nut down, pushing that O-ring. And in the old manual, it says to do, I think, the 11 to 10 to 11 foot-pounds of torque. In the new one, it says tighten it so it's snugged up. So, and there's a reason why. This other one up here, this is a flare fitting. We'll see that in a little bit. But this, because it has an O-ring, doesn't need no Teflon tape on it. So I will assume this position and continue with this part next. At the end of one of these cylinders there, hydraulic cylinders, you have that little plug, which looks like a giant finger right there. And what that is a little plug, and you take a 6 millimeter wrench, and you take it out. But before that, I'm going to get a little rag here, stick it down here, because this puppy has a little bit of stuff in it. And get your eye protection on. So 6 mil wrench, and right away I felt a little pressure coming off. But I don't think it's going to blow out or nothing, because it is, depressurized. So unscrew that, and I think it can just go bye-bye. But I'll set it aside for now. Wipe off your dirty fingers, and maybe a little bit of this here too. But don't get anything in there. Now, the part with the O-ring on it, you screw it in there. Line it up, don't cross the threads because this is expensive to replace probably. And you do it so you get all those threads that were on that inside the thing. Now, they are all in there in fact, but it's not tight. That is where this comes in. This does not need to be pointing up, it just needs to be pointing back, like so. So it's accessible. Then with your 17 millimeter wrench, you tighten this nut down. So I'm going to do it by hand here. Then I'll just get down low and tighten away. So it's snug. Holding this other spigot out. Right. There. So, now you can see that there is pointing not up, just towards the back of the quick jack. Alright, that's the back part there. And now, basically do the same to the other side. Like I said, make sure that little nut thing is snug, but no ogre strength on it. You got an O-ring to help it, right? Okay, so I'm right about there, underneath that little plate there. I kind of lift up this unit and put one of those rubber blocks that came with it. I put the tall one, 3 inches in there. I didn't go over there, but there's 8 rubber blocks. They look like, like a famous manufacturer of blocks. And of these 8, 4 are one height, which is like, I think, 2 inches, and the other one's 3 inches high. So different heights on those blocks. And what it is basically lift up the back end. You notice the back end because, see, these down here are the wheels that it can roll on. And spins pretty good. And so we're going to take the short hose. Now the short hose has flared fitting. If you never worked with a flared fitting before, you don't need Teflon tape in it. You don't need pipe dope. You can't see it there, but inside this here is a conical adapter that goes to that flared down yonder. And it too is a cone type of thing. And that's, I think, one of the first, you know, airtight, watertight type of a connector they had. Besides welding stuff, maybe, and, you know, thread compound. Without thread compound, but, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Who's going to fact check this? Anyways. But I'm pretty sure it's before compression fittings. And they're stronger than compression fittings, I think. Anyway, so important note here. You feed this tube underneath it, between these wheels basically, and then up like so. You see that? I don't know. You see it? You see it's underneath there, between those wheels, and then it's up here. Right between that little section there, which, you know, looks like that. And that's so when this thing lifts, it's not going to be crushing the hose. The hose is going to be, in theory, close to the floor at all times. Now then, we've got the fitting to deal with. This fitting here is the flared fitting. Let me get in here like so. And, see if I can do something about it. So in the old book, it said, I think, 23 to 25 feet per square inch torque, whatever, blah, blah. The new book is the 2 to 3 turns. Now, I don't think it even needs that, but we'll see. So pop off this cap and line it up good without, you know, messing it up or nothing. Threads. I want to start by hand and get it going. Now this right here is just straight up threaded. It's not, for you thread people out there, you're going to correct me on this, but it's not kind of like a coned thread. That's my idea of a cone thread. You know, it doesn't start small and kind of gradually get bigger like a pipe thread would. Instead it's a straight thread, and when it gets something like so, you have your cone part in here where it should be contacted, and you just kind of snug it down. So, maybe I'm doing a half turn, if that, and that should be good for that. Alright, so that there is the assembly on one side of this car lift, and see it kind of comes down there, wraps around the side, hose like this, and I don't know if you just, you don't want to drag on the floor, but maybe when you're going to move this thing, you wrap it up underneath the wheels and put it back in there, up top. I don't know. That's a later chapter. But one thing I did notice is there's wheels down there. And you know what? On their box here, if the manufacturer's watching, it says right here, you see that? It says 2-inch rubber wheels. I think it says what said that. Anyways, it says in the manual that, yeah, there's supposed to be 2 spare rubber wheels. And no, I did not get that. Now the new manual online, it doesn't give you 2 more wheels. So, I'm not going to cry about it. But I am going to do the next one the same way. I'll prop it up, get this foam out of here, prop it up, get the hose out underneath it, and connect it to that little niblet right there. Pull that cap off, just like this one. Okay, so finally the fluid came in, and so we'll fill this little thing here with a reservoir. And right now I don't got the hoses hooked up or nothing. That'll come a little later, but the reservoir here, this might take a little wrench, or you can use your hand, get this nut off. Well, actually this part here, I believe there's a gasket there too. Yeah, you don't want to use a wrench on this, I can tell you, because this is plastic threads. So you don't want to cross thread. You just got this thing here, you got this washer, and then you got a breather cap deal, which is important because later on you're going to loosen this. Don't know how to loosen it, like that's fine. Just so when it's running, air can come in and out. But when you're going to move this unit around, you tighten this thing down again. So I'll be showing that again later. But you have this here, and reservoir, and find yourself a funnel, and unless you're really good at pouring, get yourself a clean funnel, stick it like this. And now this thing says it takes 2.1 quarts right here, and I got a gallon here, so I'm not going to have the whole thing, of course. So I'm going to get the cap off, and get some rags around just in case. And this particular one has one of these little safety things here. And I'm going to pour in, I don't know, 2.1 quarts, give or take some. But likely, what they're saying to do is get it about ½ inch. About ½ inch from the top here is where you want your level at. And that makes sense. And then we're going to do a little bleeding of the system here in the future. And just who knows what's going to happen. All I do know is that there is a few different types of fluids you can get. And they talk about hydraulic jack fluids, and or what's the other thing? Transmission fluids. So I'm just going to very slowly, correctly, not make a mess, hopefully, add hydraulic fluid to the recommended amount right about here. Alright, so I added the right amount there, and I'm going to put back on this plug, and like I said, very carefully try to get started without cross-threading anything, because I believe this is all plastic. Okay, get this down here. I got the breather thing open right now, but once I get this cinched down here, which I'm just going to tighten it down with some good order strength, and then I'm going to tighten this one here down top. There, tight. Now then, I'm going to, I believe I'm ready to hook this all up together, so let me get in position and we'll get to hooking. Okay, now for this part here, we need 2 of these blocks that came with them, right? You see those little holes in the bottom, little pegs on the top. And so you need 2 of the large ones, and you put them together like so, and 1 of the medium one. So here's a medium one, and put like that, right on top. You stick them together like those famous manufactured blocks. Now you got this little tower. That little tower is going to go, you have your label side there, and then over here you have, well, the other side. It's going to go right underneath the plate, right there. You see with the sticker, and you got the hose here. There's your shock, you got the hose, and that plate. So you stack them under there. Takes a little muscles, but it's easier than lifting a car. Okay, as you can see here, the label side over here is down. It's also the side without the wheels on it. And as you go over here, you got the blocks. You can see there that we showed you how to stack in the previous clip underneath that plate there. And the ones with the wheels are up here in the air. That's also the part where you have the hoses coming out. So like so. So next what we're going to do is do a little hose connectory. Connections. And it's going to be something like this here. So you're going to not grab that one, but I'll grab this one here. And I bring it under the wheels, like so. And we get one end of the long hose. Alright, remember the long hose? Well, it's unclipped and ready to go. So let's kind of unwind this a little bit. And this is important here. So let me take a look at this. No, a little too close. Right, maybe something like that. And alright, pull this thing off here. And this here spins. And so I flip it around. Alright, there's a ball end, a ball, right here, right? And right now, let's see here. You can push it like this, and I believe the other one goes inside. Bring this around here, pop this off. All right. See if I can zoom in on this at all. Okay. Now we got the male part here, and the female part here, and they go together, like so. And then so I twisted this around. So now, if I flip it around here, hope everyone saw that. Where are we at? And flipped around now, the ball is up here. So this right here, if I go back this way, you can see the slot. If I pull it so the ball goes in that slot, it should pop apart. Otherwise, it's like that, and it's locked in. The other end, same thing, female, is going to go to the studs down here. Right? So I'm going to go ahead and attempt to do that too. Get in here. And I believe it does not matter which side you hook this up to, the top one or the bottom, left and right. This hose is kind of stiff. Maybe if it's summertime it might unwind better, but I'm going to go ahead and unwind it a little bit. And pull this thing off. Check that thing, okay. Right. Pop this thing off. Same thing. There. Got in there. Locked on. Don't know if you saw that, but now do the other side the same way. Long hose from this spigot here to the ramp. Short hose. Alright, so for this next part, we got it hooked up. The hose is all hooked up to the base unit, the pump unit. We got ourselves a 5mm hex wrench. We'll need this here soon. And we got the pendant. We have it plugged in the wall. And what we're going to do is push the up button here and raise these things about 8 inches. And look for leaks while it's doing it. But before that, remember to do your bleeder screw, right? This thing right on top of there. Otherwise, it'll probably just make that noise like it just did. And it's half a turn. Oh, it says. Now, I bet you we get a whole nother result here. So we're back to here. Press the up again. Okay, I'm thinking it might be about 8 inches. 8 inches. You definitely don't take it past the first locking mechanism, which on this one right here, from what I can tell, is let's see. I see a lock here. I see a lock basically here. Okay, that's more than 8 inches. Now then, we got it up. We're going to bring it down. Push the down button. Now, you probably can't hear it, but I can hear the reservoir filling back up again. And as you can see, it's kind of urching down ever so slightly. And the reservoir is bubbling with fluid and air. Now then, it's down, so we'll go back up again. 8 inches. Good enough. And down. I'm looking around the floor. Don't see any hydraulic fluid spewing out anywhere. Now, if you're pushing this down and these things don't go down, go ahead and put some weight on them. But I'm letting it do its thing. Now then, one more time up. Nice. And down again. So it's not 2, it's not 4, it's 3 times is what the manual says. The version I'm looking at now is the one that came with this unit, so it might be old. But this is going to work too. And what we're doing here is with the angle of this and pumping the fluids into it, down, let me set this aside. Down here is the bleeder screw, right? Now then, I'm going to take my little 5mm wrench and stick it in there, and with a rag handy, I'm going to try to capture some of the air and fluid that might be coming out of that. And mind you, you do this ever so slightly. You don't back all the way out. In fact, when you bring it out, you should hear a little hiss. Supposedly. Also has safety glasses on. Might want to put a face shield on. Who knows? Let's see what we got here. Okay, no hiss yet, but that loose. Okay, there's a hiss. And when you hear the hiss stop, you tighten it back up. Alright. So, not terrible amount, but I'm going to make sure I got it tightened pretty good. And I'll do the other side too. Just like that. Okay, this next part sounds a little bit more messier. They want me to press up on the dilly bobber here, right, a button, for a few seconds, then stop. 1, 2, 3. Now, do they mean like this? I don't know. There's pressure underneath it. Now they say, with the rag, you loosen it, and then they want you to press up on it again and then tighten it. So, we have it raised now, and I'll get in here and get my trusty Allen wrench, Now this is under pressure by a little bit. Let's see. Nothing coming up yet. Okay, now it's coming out. And then raise up a few more seconds. And then tighten it. Right. Now, I don't know if you can see that. Maybe the bar's blocking the way. But, slimy goodness. So I'm going to give that a little wipey. And once you have that closed, you can lower it. Now then, I'm going to do the other side the same way. So I'm going to do a few seconds of raising it. Let me get more of this wiped off. And make sure it's tightened. I mean, it's tightened because I already did that. But one thing I'm going to do a few seconds of raising it. Get the rag underneath it. Undo it. Raise it up a bit more. Let it leak out some more. And then tighten it. And then lower it back down. Okay, so a special note here. Now after we've done that part of the bleeding, it says to redo it a few more times until basically no more air's coming out, just fluid's coming out. Now, for anyone that's, you know, blood breaks on a car, you know, eventually you kind of want to add more fluid to the reservoir when you're doing that. And so I'll be checking the reservoir because when this thing is flat, I believe you want to have it pretty close to that ½ inch below the reservoir. Yeah, something like that. But we'll see. For now, I'm going to raise it a few more. Bleed it out. And get back to the next step after I'm done with this a few times. Who knows how long it's going to take. Okay, so I lowered them back down. When you tighten the little hex nut down there, right? Just let the pressure of the air out of it. When you tighten it, don't over tighten it. Just snug it up real good, but don't over strengthen it. Now then, with these down, I've held the button on the controller for down for like a few seconds there. I come over here and I look inside the reservoir. You see it in there? You see it? Of course not, because it's too dark. But inside there, you see it in there? Dark. If I had a light in there, maybe you'd see that it's actually not up to that ½ inch below the surface anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and top that off. Part of the manual says to make sure it's full. But I think when they say full, they mean ½ inch below. Because, you know, right now there's fluid, I think in the pistons, there's fluid in this hose maybe. Right? And so I'm going to top that off, and then that will be ready to go. Some things to remember is don't use this up without a car on it. And if you have a car on it and you take the wheels off, don't slam it down to the ground. Okay? It's not meant to lift from this position extraneous weight. Just enough to get it up to like a strong point, which is underneath the car. You have these blocks here that go in these wheel wells. Well, not wheel wells, but wells here, and up over yonder there's a couple there. Blocks will go in there, and hopefully we'll find a spot underneath the jacking points of your vehicle. So I know if you have I think the Asian market ones, they all have pinch welds. These are not the blocks for you. Although, if you took a saw and cut a notch out, maybe there would be. But don't do it. Spend the $100 or so and get the ones with the notches in them, like I did. And yeah, you could use these with ones with the notch. Just make sure the notch is on the top. Also, there's these bad boys down here still. Those you can use if you have, like, a lifted vehicle or a higher vehicle. And that's basically it. I'm going to fill that reservoir and take it up a little bit and bring it back down again, and make sure it runs smoothly. If you're lifting a car and it starts to tilt, whatever, cattywampus, stop it and down it again. They should lift with a weight on it equally. And if it's kind of jiggy-jaggly, it probably means there's air in the lines. And if you have a manual, make sure you read it, because there's a bunch more warnings in there, precautions. You know, like even if you're lowering these things down, don't smash your fingers underneath them, don't smash your toes underneath them. And whew, okay, back to the filling stuff. All right, so let's see. Reservoir topped it off, but not full. Just I kept that ½ inch below still. I don't know where I'm at in this, but basically now everything I think checks out. You go with everything, you make sure it's all checked out. You're ready to lift your vehicle. So to start with, I'm going to do the inner method, I think. I'm going to do a little virtual reality thinking here. Okay, we're going to go through this without actually putting a vehicle on this thing, because it's getting late and I want to get this thing out. So 2 units here, side by side. Make sure that your bars, these bars right here, you see the little silver thing here, are on the outer side. Right, there's one on this side too, on our side. And that is proper alignment. Now, maybe I can look through the manual, but I really don't think there is like a front and back. Just that the way this is right now, it's going to have a little bit of shift. Let's see, so the wheels are at this end. It's going to have a little shift to the other end. Maybe even, I think, a foot or something like that, it says. So keep in mind to have some good clearance front and back, and I think it even says like 12 feet in the manual. But, if you have some of these, this is where this is going to come in at. So you have 2 of these, and what you're going to do is you bring your vehicle, you drive it up, right, bzzz, hopefully check the bottom clearance to make sure that this thing's not going to hit anything, which it hopefully won't. It's like, what, a 4-inch height, maybe? 3, 4 inch? I don't know. And so you just straddle it and bring it on over to where you think you have this between your wheel wells, basically. Then, what you're going to do is use these things here, right? You got this little hook thing there. And you're going to employ 2 of them. And just do it like so. You're going to use it to kind of grab like here and here, and then pull. 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 And yeah, if I got down lower, maybe it would help. But maybe if they had some rubber in here, it might help too. But anyways, so you basically spread them and get them underneath your lifting points of the vehicle. Now then, you will use the up button. Give it a little raise there. For now, I'm going to just go this height because you never want to lift this up higher, probably than this, without a vehicle on it to let it go back down. So get like something like that, and I'm going to pretend like I'm lifting a lifted vehicle. How about that? So I'm going to go here and get my my high jack stands. My high jack stands, like these things here. And like I said, you have your car over here now, and so you just kind of position these underneath the car. Right, you move it here, you move it back here, underneath the car's jack points. Alright, so I got one there. Stick one to the back side here. Okay, and and even though I'm just concentrating on one side here now, you do that for the other one too. So I got that there, and I can shimmy it up a little bit more. Right? And then like I said, make sure with your vehicle over the top of this thing, you have this surface here underneath the jack points on your car. Now, last but not least is this little thing at the bottom here. You want to come over to this side. You got the lifting arm. Has this nut here, or not the lifting arm, the support, locking arm. This thing here comes down here, and it has a silver connection at the end of it. And that silver connection, the whole arm goes in a track on the bottom there, and there's two nodules on there. That's where it locks in. And the silver thing here has to be back around the top, but as it goes back, it should lock in. If it goes, you go past it and you take the pressure off a little bit and it'll lock into that first one. Or you go over to the back one, it locks in that back one. And that's when you know you have a safe lift condition. But before you even get that far with it, pressurize it, lift the vehicle up when it's made contact to here, this thing's on the ground, and give it a little wobble. See if the vehicle is sturdy feeling or if it's wobbly. If it's wobbly, drop back down and reposition your stuff a little bit, adjust. If it's pretty sturdy, then you lift. And so then, like I said, bring it on up to a midpoint or higher, depending on how high you need this thing lifted. And make sure your little locking mechanisms lock into the track down there in the nodes. And then when you're ready to take it on down, I believe you lift it up so this is off the nodes, and then you put that silver thing around, and it should, instead of catching it, should slide over the nodes. Now, like I said, if these bars aren't touching the bottom, I'm going to have to loosen this holding bolt up there, nut, to make sure that it does, but not too loose, And that's the thing. Once you get that thing back into where it should be, go ahead and drop it on down with the down button. Right, like so. And now, once you get this down, then of course you can pull off your I want to say jack stands, but your blocks, per se, right there. Or if you use the other blocks, the rubber ones, for, same kind of car, or actually not a race car, this is for race cars. But, the blocks, or if you use the ones with the grooves in them, which I'll be using eventually, pull those away and then, either push these back together or pull them out from your vehicle, because you don't want to drive over this. This is not the kind you drive on and lift up. This is the kind you pull in and then you move these underneath it or pull them out from underneath it. So I don't know. Maybe I will start them, maybe I'll start them spread more and then be able to slide underneath the car. Maybe that's what I'll do. But not in this video. This video is pretty much done. If you have any questions or comments, leave messages below if you have some issues with this. Thanks what I can do. And one more little tidbit here, if you're still there, is some extra warnings from the manual. Maintenance. So daily you want to look at everything, check moving parts, check for damage, excessive wear, replace any damaged worn parts before equipment is put back into operation. Daily, keep all quick jack components clean. Daily, make sure the safe locks are in good operating condition. That's those the silver things on the side there, I believe. And not excessively worn or damaged. And inspect your lift blocks to make sure not excessive wear or broken or whatever. If you do a lot of lifts, maybe these will wear out after a while, but this is some solid rubber here. And so check those out daily. And of course, when I say daily, I mean if you can actually use it that day. Weekly, you check all your hoses and fittings, right? That down there. And make sure there's no leaks. And monthly, you lube them. And just to show this copyright stuff here, probably there's little points here. You can do lithium grease, I believe, yeah, or equivalent. to lube these things monthly. And monthly, also check the air cylinders. Remember those things there? The little nibbit right there. Check that, make sure it's, I'd shoot for 45 each time, but not 50, not over 50. But 45 is probably a good place to keep it at. Every other month, check your hydraulic fluid levels and refill if required. That's, of course, back over here in the reservoir. And you check it when this thing's in the low position, and you fill it in the low position, right? And if you're lifting, it gets up to the higher position and it's not going all the way up, then you drop it back down and add more fluid. And we noticed the warning tags down there, and I don't know, down there's one of them. Warning tags, right there. When you notice those going kaput, you can't see anymore, you order new ones, I guess, right, and replace them. And that is basically it. If you're still there, thanks for staying with me. And even though I mentioned about lifting a car, I don't think I'm going to lift a car this time because, like I said, I want to get this thing out. But I'll be doing an oil change soon, I think. So, who knows what I'll do then. Alright, well, if you have any questions, comments, leave below. And like I said, if you have any odd jobs you'd like to see me try to do and fumble through, leave that down below too. And thanks for watching. And I am out of here. Okay, so a few more tidbits here. Might be important. So, step one is, when you're done with your car lift here, drop it all the way down to low and keep it held down a little bit to really get the pressurized off it. Because you don't want to undo these connectors here with it pressurized at all. And we'll see here in a minute if I want to undo them ever again. So, you have them. You got my safety glasses on, and you got like this here, and I'll get some rag down here, and you turn this thing around to where the little ball's at again, and push them together. Alright, and that pops off fairly clean. Nice. So after that's done, you cap it, and you get the sew in here, make sure it's clean, and cap that. There. Now you can do that to all the rest of them, if you're ready to put this away. Which, nah, I just did that for the show right now. Hope you got to see that. And the next thing to do is, where's it at? Right there. Your little breather valve, you know, go ahead and close that up, shut that down, tighten it down. And of course, maybe before that or after, you know, plug it from the wall. And that way, it's in the kind of storage mode. And of course, you do the same thing. You line up that little ball thing, pop them off, and I'd have a rag just in case. But, you know, that only had just a little bitty drippy drip, if that, just like from the surfaces. So that's pretty keen. And, yeah, that's it. I'm out.